Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to another league racing video. This is PSGL round number 9 around Suzuka. Beautiful track in Japan, and we are currently on our outlap for our first Q1 run. We've done our usual outlap and in-lap on the intermediates to check if all our equipment is working. But now we are gonna try, and as per usual, do only one run in Q1 to get into Q2. But in a field full of esports drivers, that is easier said than done. Standings right here, we are currently 19 points behind Barry Bormand. We finished only P2 this season, apart from Qatar, where we only finished P10. So, yeah, we got some ground to make up. The championship is going to be more than just those 10 rounds you can see. I think there will be 13, 14, maybe 15 rounds. I'm not actually sure how many there will be. But there's definitely still time to catch Barry in the championship, no doubt about it. And last week around Austria, we lost the race win on the last lap. And basically, every single race we've lost the race win on the last lap, unfortunately. But let's try and break our P2 curse here and actually get our first win of the season. That is the aim here in today's race. Suzuka historically seen one of my weaker tracks, just like Silverstone. But in PSGL and WR around Silverstone, we did pretty well in both races. So, honestly, historically seen, it doesn't mean anything. We just need to get a good first Q1 lap. A little bit of a sketchy moment there. And on a track where the walls are so close to the track, any little moment is scary. Even though you're driving on a simulator, of course. If you crash in an actual qualifying session, you're still out, so the pressure is still fully on, and you need to get it together. Can't make any big mistakes, as Barry Bormand goes to a provisional P1 with a 25.998, and we're gonna try and beat that here in our first Q1 lap. But in case we do have to go out, we've got enough tires to go out twice in Q1 and 2, and then still have a new set of tires for Q3. Fairly clean lap so far, apart from the little moment in the S section, which is very sketchy around here, as I said earlier. It's a 0.69 split, which means we can still do a 25.9, but we're gonna have to nail this last chicane for sure. Over the curbs we go on the limit of the track. It's such a hard chicane this year because you're kind of bottoming out, but you're also not over the curbs. It's like, it depends.
The last corner.
It depends how you catch them and what angle you hit them, and it's so difficult to get right. In real life, you just have to drive around it, and on this game, it just depends on the setup, depends how you hit it, how it goes. So you can see there, we had to go out again in Q1. I was 110 up with another 110 to gain in the last chicane because I messed it up in the first run. But my engineer, that you cannot hear on the stream and in this recording, told me that I was through, so that's why I backed off in the last corner to just, you know, have a little bit of a fresher set at the start of Q3 in case we do have to do 2 runs in Q2, and yeah, then we just have a fresher set of tires for the start of Q3. So on to Q2 we go, a 0.637 split going into the last sector, as you can see in the top right. Again, not a very good first run, and I felt like I was completely bottling those laps, and nonetheless we were doing pretty decent. Now, again on the second lap we are improving a lot. I could even take this double left-hander cautious, because I knew if there's a place you're going to invalid the lap, it's through that double left-hander. Otis goes to a provisional P1. We are 1.8 tenths up, with still time to get in the last sector, so a 0.432 middle split, as Brendan now goes to a provisional P1. We have to get this last chicane right, because we're only P12 at the moment, and only the top 10 goes through to the final Q3 shootout. So, as you can see there, purple last sector, and we go to P2. Could have gone P1 if we had taken that double left-hander more on the limit, but again, we don't need to be P1 in Q2, we need to be P1 in Q3. And that is easier said than done. As you can see there, Alfie Butcher, Georgie Dovus, Shanaka Clay, Yoni Tomla, and Fabricio Donoso out of Q2 there. As this is our used tire run. This is the set that I backed out of at the end of Q1. So they are used, but they're slightly less used than what most people are running. So this being a track with the hardest compounds of tires available as well, they are still very good tires. Not quite as good as new tires though. And we go P5, but P1 of the used tires. So we are P5 at the moment. That's a very limited amount of people actually managed to save a set of tires to have tuning sets of tires for Q3. And those 4 people are ahead of us: Brandon, Thomas, Barry Borman and Nicolas Longe. So they are going to have a lot more confidence into this final run with tuning sets of tires. Nonetheless, we're going to have to nail it here in order to get a good starting position. And thus far, not much of an improvement to our used tire run. You can see actually through there we did gain a lot, around half a tenth, and we are 700 to 800 up going into sector 2, flat out through Dagner 1, and then trying to get the rotation down, and that was a big moment there that cost us at least half a tenth. Into the hairpin we go. Important to get good rotation. Again, can't quite get the front to bite in, and that was actually a bit of time loss there. So 2 corners in a row where we've lost time to our used tire run, and more importantly, how much time would we have lost to actually good new tire run. Double left-hander coming up. Again, this one is where the new tire should really help, but again, it's not much of an improvement, only 200ths improvement through there, and we're really gonna have to clutch up this final sector if we want to have a good starting position here for round 9 of the PSGL series. A .355 middle split, that's the best we've done so far in all qualifying sessions. Nice rotation though through the final chicane, and we hooked that up nicely. Up to the line we go. It's going to be an over 2/10 improvement, and it's going to put us only P6. And yeah, just the middle sector, we've lost out too much in the hairpin and in the right-hander where we had a big moment. We got our teammate Marcel Kiefer right ahead of us, and then yeah, Barry Borman, Thomas Ronar, Nicolas Longe and Brendan Lee were in a league of their own. You could see everyone, we only had 1 new set of tires, really struggled there, and only Marcel, our teammate, actually managed to go faster than us there. So decent job, P6 in qualifying. Better than I've ever done around Suzuka, because usually I'm terrible around here in the qualifying. But now onto the race we go. We're going to be starting on the soft compound of tires. And it's lights out and away we go. We've got Freddy Rasmussen behind us on the hards, and then Thomas Ronar on the mediums. The rest is all on softs around us. Into turn 1 we go. We're going to go around the outside of a teammate, Marcel Kiefer. And into P5 we go. Marcel's on the outside. We're leaving him as much space as possible. Barry has a little moment. And into P5 we go. And now we've got Thomas Ronar in P3 on the mediums. So let's see if maybe Barry can go for a move in these opening few laps. And see if we can maybe sneak through as well. A little bit of a moment on the exit there. And that's such a scary moment. Going flat out through there. And yeah, first time on heavy fuel in dirty air. It's always having to get used to it a little bit through that section, as Barry has a big moment into the hairpin, and that's what I was talking about. Heavy fuel and dirty air is catching people off guard, and we had a little look, but it's just not enough there for us to get past, and I had to back out and decided to have a go later on in this race, perhaps. Again, using a bit of my battery there to catch up, put Barry a little bit under pressure to the guys ahead as well, because we can force him to go for a move. But you can see he has so much more straight line speed, and I'm not sure if that was set up at this time or if it was him just using his battery more, as we had to go around the poles that time around in the chicane. Don't want to hit them off, because if they get under your car you go straight into the gravel. They're really annoying to be there. They're there in real life as well, but in real life people can't cut that inside chicane, so it's not as much of an issue in real life. As up ahead they're battling a little bit. I think Thomas is in P3, as you can see there. He was in P1 for a brief moment, but they were battling quite hard, so I felt like there was no way through at the moment. And the pit window has opened, so we're gonna box for a new set of hard tires. We can either go to hards or mediums, but I decided, you know what, I am going for the hards because I want to have better pace later on in this race. However, that's going to hurt our undercut a little bit here, because these are the hardest compound available, which means they take long to warm up. But we have a full battery. We've got Barry ahead of us on the same strategy as us. So he and me, even though we're championship rivals here, we're 19 points behind, and a winner takes 16 points. We want to work together at this point a little bit, because we both want to get to the front. We both want to get into the top 3, and we both felt like we were stuck. So even though we're not teammates, even though we're championship rivals, our goal at this time is the same. So we're not going to be battling here on the outlap, and maybe even on the lap after. We are going to be pushing as hard as we can to get track position, to gain to the guys ahead. And we have to be careful, of course, later on in the race, because us boxing earlier means we're going to be under threat from people behind that will be boxing later, and maybe also onto a softer compound. So this is a huge risk we're taking right here, but it is necessary. Joshi Doe behind us boxed even 1 lap earlier than us, and he's going to have even more trouble towards the end of the race. Jake Benham, our real-life teammate, behind Josh, who boxed on the same lap as us. So Jake with similar aged tires than us. But now the question is, can we pull off this undercut? Can we get ahead of Thomas, Nicholas and Brendan? All incredibly fast drivers on this outlap. Purple middle sector for us, and similar to Barry probably. And now we're going to get DRS on the next straight. But again, I do not want to battle into turn 1, because these guys are boxing this lap, of course, and I do not want to make it 3 wide into turn 1. And we are not even close enough anyway. But you can see there, Brendan and Nicholas coming out of the pits. We're going to go around the outside of both of them and into a net P2 we go. We slotted in right behind Barry and right out of Nicholas. But you can see there, Nicholas Longe on a new set of mediums. And this is what I was so afraid of.
Yes, if you have it.
Other drivers going for a longer strategy and then going onto a softer compound, and now we're going to be at risk in the coming few laps because those mediums are going to be so much faster. So we're going to have to play this smart and somehow try and keep Nicholas behind if we want to win this race, because he's going to be pulling off into the distance. We've compromised our strategy for track position here. Thomas still out on those mediums, by the way, so he is as well thinking of a longer term strategy here. He wants to have the better pace later on in this race. Now we are in P10 and P11, me and Barry, of course, but we are in a net P1 and P2. Fabrizio Donoso on P9, probably going a lot longer as he's in a net last position probably. So Marcel is boxing now on to a set of mediums or hards actually, I don't know. But you can see there, Nicholas is right behind us. We're in the slipstream of Barry. We're gonna go down the inside, not to attack but to defend from Nicholas Longe behind us, and we are kind of forced here to go on the attack of Barry to defend from Nicholas. As the saying goes, sometimes attack is the best defense, and this is a prime example. We're gonna go for the move in turn 1 down the inside. We almost get squeezed into Thomas, who's coming out of the pits, and into the net race lead we go, ahead of Nicholas now, who was on a fresh set of mediums, and this is exactly what we needed. We wanted to either be in P1 or P2, and if I would have not gone on the attack there, we would have been overtaken by Nicholas on that so much faster set of medium tires. And I expect Nicholas to probably get past us on the next lap, but that means we are gonna have the DRS if we actually manage to stay within, because I wouldn't be surprised if Nicholas tries to break the DRS straight away, as he's on newer tires but also on a set softer tire. So someone to keep an eye on as well is Thomas, who boxed for new hards, of course. So he has like 2 lap fresher tires, and the tire wear is high around Suzuka, of course, with all those long, fast corners. The tire wear is huge because the load on those tires is immense, and you're constantly correcting the car as well in these high-speed sections in dirty air. Now we've got Nicholas right behind us and Barry behind him again, and we need to be careful here that we do not get double overtaken like Barry had on the last lap, because if that happens we are in P3 and then 2 teammates are in P1, P2, and that is so difficult to overtake and manage. So again, using a bit of my battery there because I could see Barry coming behind us. I kept the line in the middle to cover off Barry's, covered off the switchback from Barry, and we stay in the top 2. And that is the aim here. As I say, every single week we want to be in the top 2. Every single driver wants to be in the top 2 because that gives you the opportunity to fight for the win. Although we have lost the win every single time on the last lap. Now lap 15 then. You can see Nicholas quite far ahead now, 7 tenths ahead. And actually Brandon behind Barry is pushing quite hard, so that forced me to use some of my battery to actually defend from Barry. And even though Barry did not want to go on the attack, he was forced by Brandon, because Brandon and Thomas have fresher tires. They are obviously going to be faster and they want to get past. So Brandon was forcing Barry into me, and that forced me to use my battery, which is not something I wanted, because I wanted to save my battery, and this kept going on for quite some while. Again, on the next lap, had to use my battery to cover off Barry, who tried to cover off Brandon. So this was frustrating for both me and Barry, because obviously we wanted to prepare for the last few laps of the race, and Brandon just wanted to get track position and get past. So on to lap 18 we go now. We've had to use our ERS quite inefficiently because of that, and Nicolas has been able to recharge his battery quite well. His mediums are still faster, of course, and you can see that he is pushing. He is pushing to get out of the DRS window, out of that 1 second window. So into turn 1 we go. It's a 6.5-10 gap, but he has a pace advantage on that set of mediums, and he also has that ERS advantage because he has not need to defend from anyone. So I'm pushing. I realized I had to push, because otherwise I was going to drop out of DRS, and that would be a free win for Nicolas, and that would be really annoying for us, because that means we will be under threat from the guys behind if we lose DRS. That will be our protection gone. So pushing hard here. Yeah, Nicolas is just really fast on that set of mediums. Goes a little bit deep into the hairpin, which might have just saved us. On the exit, again, gonna turn on the ERS, giving us that extra 160 horsepower. But Nicolas 9.5 tenths ahead now, and if he only gains half a tenth in the next few corners, he will be out of DRS. Bit of a moment there as I'm pushing to the absolute limit, taking a track limit warning, and that was well worth it, because our battery is almost depleted now, and we only just about survive. We've dropped back to within 7.5 tenths, and that means we're gonna get DRS on the next straight again, and that was scary. I'm not sure if Nicolas stopped pushing so hard because he realized Barry was gonna drop out of DRS as well. You can see there actually, Barry is out of the DRS now, and he had even less ERS than us. So I'm not sure if that was some kind of teamwork going on, that Nicolas decided now to stop pushing, because I reckon we could have pulled away, both of us here, and Nico had more ERS than both me and Barry, and I think
next 5 minutes it says for me.
He decided to stop pushing there to kind of save Barry a bit, because Barry would have been screwed with Thomas and Brandon behind him. Now again, this time it's Thomas actually behind Barry. They've swapped around, and they're going at it, and Thomas goes for the send. I actually had to miss the curb on the inside there, because otherwise I would have been tapped around.
Oh,
if
yeah,
I would have
into each other.
If I would have not looked behind
I almost
there.
got tapped around if I did not look behind.
As you can hear me say there, I almost got tapped around. I had to avoid that. Going that half a meter wider over that curb, or avoiding the curb, might have just saved my race there. And those are just little things that can help save your race, even though it cost me a little bit of time. It might have just saved me from being spun around. So into the last lap we go now. We're safe from everyone behind, and we're gonna go for it with the DRS on the last lap. We are going on the attack. DRS open into turn 1. We're in the slipstream, and you can see the marbles on the tires. We're gonna go around the outside into turn 1. Nicolas squeezes us around the outside. We go a little bit of a tap, but we've got marbles on our outside tire, and we just do not have the grip there. And we have to concede P1 for now. But can we go for a move later on in this lap? Our tires have got less wear by now, because obviously Nicolas' tires are 1 lap fresher, but they are the softer compound, which means by now his tires have started to drop off. But the issue we are on hards, and it has started to rain, it has started to drizzle, and that is just not ideal for a hard. So I reckon we're actually quite equal on tire grip by now, because those hards do not like rain, and they do not like cold temperatures. So into the hairpin we go. We're very close to hitting the back of him. We're trying to get the power down. You can see the rear does not want to give in. You can see it's drizzling now, but can we go for a move in these drizzling conditions into the final chicane? Maybe can we push Nicolas into a mistake? We're gonna get some big slipstream into the final chicane. Nicolas has more ERS, but we're gonna have the slipstream effect into the final chicane. You can see we're closing in all the time as the speed builds up. The slipstream effect grows and grows. Through 130R we go. Can we go for a move down the inside of the final chicane? Not quite. Can we maybe go for it on the exit here? Then it's going to be a short run to the line, and it's just not going to be enough. And once again, we have finished second. And that is 4 second places out of 5 races in PSGL. Very frustrating. But as I said in the stream as well, unfortunately we finished P2 again. And fortunately we have finished P2 again, because that means we're once again closing in on the championship lead, with Barry only finishing P5, got overtaken by Freddy there in the end as well. So that is quite a big point loss for Barry, 6-point loss to us, but it could have been a bigger point loss, could have been a 10-point loss if we managed to win. And it's just so frustrating that we just tend to miss out by the tightest of margins. To be honest, I think this time around we could have not changed anything. I think we were just not quite as fast as the Ferraris and the Alfa Romeos around Suzuka, as you could see in qualifying as well. The entire team struggled a little bit of the race, but you can see Jake in P8, Marcel in P10, and Danny Bresnay, or the teammate, had a qualifying ban, so he struggled going through the pack as well. P2, decent result nonetheless. Make sure to like and subscribe for more league racing videos, and see you guys next time. Ciao.
I'm in the